There's a version of you you've always dreamed of becoming, confident, disciplined, unstoppable. And yet, you keep running from them. Not because you don't want that life, but because deep down you're afraid of who you'll have to stop being to get it. That's the truth most people never face. Growth isn't scary because of the new version of you. It's scary because of the old one you'll have to bury. See, everyone talks about becoming your best self, but no one talks about the loneliness of it. The way it feels when the things that once felt safe stop fitting anymore. When you start realizing that in order to rise, you'll have to outgrow the parts of yourself you've spent years protecting. That's the real fear, not failure, but transformation. I remember the night it hit me. I was staring at myself in the mirror, not the confident version I post online, but the quiet, exhausted one who kept breaking promises to herself. I'd say, I'll change tomorrow, and then watch tomorrow turn into next week. It wasn't laziness, it was fear. Fear that if I actually became disciplined, focused, consistent, I'd have no excuse left. And that realization cut deep. Because the truth is we cling to weakness when strength scares us. You say you want a new life, but are you ready to let the old one die? That's the war no one sees. The version of you that loves comfort will always fight the version of you that craves greatness. And every morning you wake up, that war begins again, in your thoughts, in your habits, in your silence. Here's what no one tells you. You're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of changing. Because deep down, you know that once you start walking into your power, you can never pretend to be small again. And once you've tasted the truth of who you could be, you'll never fit inside the old life again. That's why people stay stuck, not because they can't move forward, but because they're still negotiating with the past. There was a time I kept sabotaging myself. Every time I made progress, I'd find a reason to stop. I'd tell myself I was tired, busy, not ready. But really, I was scared of being seen as someone different, because becoming powerful comes with pressure, and pressure exposes everything fake about you. So instead of growing, I kept shrinking, until the pain of staying the same became louder than the fear of changing. One morning, I woke up and decided to stop negotiating with my potential. I wrote one sentence in my journal: you don't get to be both comfortable and transformed. That became my rule. Every time fear whispered, "Take it easy," I reminded myself, comfort is a coffin for potential. And slowly I started rebuilding, not with motivation but with commitment. Because growth doesn't happen when it's convenient, it happens when it's consistent. When you start becoming the person you're afraid to be, everything around you starts changing too. You'll lose people who loved the old you. You'll lose habits that used to numb you. You'll even lose the stories that once justified your limits, and it will hurt. But that pain, that's the sound of your old self dying. It's not destruction. It's evolution. There's a quiet war happening inside you right now between who you are and who you're meant to be. The version that wants peace and the version that wants progress. And every decision you make, what time you wake up, what you say yes to, what you ignore, decides which one wins. You won't feel ready. You'll doubt yourself. But every act of courage, no matter how small, becomes a vote for your higher self. During that journey, I lost people. Friends who said I was changing too much. Family who didn't understand the new version of me. And for a while, I questioned if I was doing the right thing. But then one night, while journaling at 2 a.m., I realized they weren't doubting me. They were defending the version of me that made them comfortable. And that's when I made peace with being misunderstood. Because the people who can't handle your evolution were never meant to walk with your higher self. When you start walking in your truth, you stop chasing validation. You stop needing applause. Because the real reward isn't the recognition, it's the quiet knowing that you didn't give up on yourself this time. And that peace, that's power. Here's the shift. Stop asking, who do I need to become to impress others? And start asking, who do I need to become to respect myself? Respect builds discipline. Discipline builds identity. And identity builds freedom. Because when you finally respect yourself enough to stop hiding, you stop begging the world for permission to shine. You'll notice something beautiful along the way. You won't need to chase confidence anymore. You'll become it. Because confidence isn't loud. It's quiet self-trust built one hard choice at a time. That's how you build a mind and a spirit that scare people, not because you're intimidating, but because you've learned to move without fear. Becoming the person you're afraid to be isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before fear taught you to shrink. You already are everything you're trying to become. You just have to stop running from it. So, if you're watching this and you feel that pull inside, that quiet whisper saying, "There's more to me than this," listen to it. That's not arrogance. That's your higher self calling you home. Don't ignore it this time. Start small. Stay consistent. And one day you'll look in the mirror and realize you finally became the person you were once afraid to be. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because your transformation might be the spark someone else is waiting for.